Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome back to our daily Kaddish Minyan. If you are joining us for the first time, welcome. We will be meeting every day at this Zoom link at 4 p.m. Eastern Time for a little teaching of Torah and the recitation of the Mourner's Kaddish. If this is your first time, I would encourage you to identify yourself by clicking on the chat button right below my head and just let us know who you are and where you're from so we can know a bit about who is joining us today. We will be led this afternoon by Rabbi Sari Laufer from Los Angeles, and I will hand it over to Rabbi Laufer now.
Hi, everyone. Yes, I'm in Los Angeles, though you would not know it from my background. I haven't figured out the virtual background yet. And thank you, Mark. You started off our virtual chat, so thanks. And yeah, it's always nice to know who people are and where they're from. I actually just recorded, I'm doing a lot on screen these days, I think all of us are. I just recorded a brief teaching on Psalms that I'm going to put up. That's going to go on my synagogue's Facebook page, but so I was thinking a lot about the Psalms, which are what our tradition actually generally turns to in times of trouble, and particularly around illness. There's a tradition that, you know, when someone is ill, you ask people to recite Psalms on their behalf, and you sometimes gather a group of people to go through there are 150 Psalms in the book of Psalms. And I was reflecting, my teacher, Rabbi Richard Levy of blessed memory, before he died last year, he finished his Passion Project, which was a brand new translation of the book of Psalms. And this is not sponsored content, but it's called Songs Ascending, and it's really, really beautiful. He's a beautiful liturgist. And what he taught me about Psalms, I had the chance to learn them with him, is, you know, he taught that they are powerful precisely because they are human. They go so deep into human emotion. And I think more powerfully than that, they allow for multiple emotions in one experience, right? Like a lot of the Psalms, when they start in despair or loneliness, they might move to a place of celebration or joy, and they might not, but that they do allow for that space of I can hold different emotions at once. And I think about that a lot around grief, and particularly I think at this time. So, you know, in grief in general, you know, I always say to families, and I think different families are different, and just like all individuals are different, but like it's okay to laugh and it's okay to cry and it's okay to do both in the same moment. And I think there might be people on this call who are already experiencing complicated grief. There's all sorts of ways that grief is complicated, sort of on a base level. And then I think the relationships we have with people we lost can make things more or less complicated. And I think we're about to enter a time and a space of even more complicated grief. And so what I was going to try to share it, my screen, but I don't think I can do that. And so I'm going to put in the chat a poem in the teaching that I did for my congregation. I read Psalm 130, which speaks about God's steadfast love. And it led me to a poem that I've always loved by Rami Shapiro called Unending Love. And so I'm going to put that in the chat right now so that if you want to follow along, you have those words. And I'm just going to read it. Hopefully that worked. Maybe did not. Let's see. It apparently did not. Oh, no, there we go. There we go. I'm going to offer these words before we head into Kaddish. So Rabbi Rami Shapiro wrote, "We are loved by an unending love. We are embraced by arms that find us, even when we are hidden from ourselves. We are touched by fingers that soothe us, even when we are too proud for soothing. We are counseled by voices that guide us, even when we are too embittered to hear. We are loved by an unending love. We are supported by hands that uplift us, even in the midst of a fall. We are urged on by eyes that need us, even when we are too weak for meeting. We are loved by an unending love. Embraced, touched, soothed, and counseled. Ours are the arms, the fingers, the voices. Ours are the hands, the eyes, the smiles. We are loved by an unending love." And I was thinking about it particularly, I think now, as we're not necessarily able to physically reach out and be actual tactile arms, but the ways that we can reach out and be there for each other, whether it's virtually or it's the call or the smile, but able to sort of be that unending love. And so we're going to turn to the words of Kaddish, the Mourner's Kaddish. And I saw that some of you already put in a couple of people who you might be remembering today, but I'm going to invite you to use the chat that way. It's a nice way. Rabbi Levy, my teacher, who was clearly on my mind today, taught, he's not the only one, but I learned from him that the word yizkor, to remember, also means to make present. And so when we remember someone, we make them present. And I think if you want to make them present for all of us, it's a way to sort of bring them into this space and bring their memory into the world. And so we're going to turn to the words of Kaddish, the Mourner's Kaddish.
I want to know where the went after Joseph says the CCTV camera caught by the South on the N11 at 22:44.
Gadal v'yich kadash.
Shemei Rabba. Tevi Amlich Malchutai. Kon Chaye Obed Israel. Bizman Kari V'Imru. Amen. Rabba Mevahar Olam Maya. Vishabah Dar Vitalev Itala Nedikisha Richo Birchat Israel Vimru. Shalom Bimrumav. Yaseh Shalom. Aleinu ve'al Israel. Bimru. Amen.
Shalom Bimrumav.
May the source of peace and peace to those who are mourning, comfort to those who are bereaved. I hope all of us find feel a little bit of that unending love. And together we say,
Amen.
Amen. Amen. Thank you, Rabbi Laufer, and thank you to all of you for joining us today. We will continue to hold this Minyan every day at 4 p.m. Eastern, as long as the situation requires it. We hope you stay healthy and stay well, and we hope to see you tomorrow. Bye-bye.